One of the sick individuals was seen in a hospital asking for a priest to exorcise him. They don't accept that witchcraft was done to you, but they also don't accept that what they have is normal. One was hospitalized for a nervous breakdown and was heard speaking in a strange tongue. He screamed that a force is squeezing him from the inside. But the most shocking part is that he begged for an exorcism right in the emergency room and couldn't take it anymore. There are those who aren't sleeping at night, not out of remorse, but out of fear. A fear that chills them to the bone, that wakes them up at 3 a.m. trembling, with cold sweat on their backs and nightmares that don't fade even with desperate prayers. They are sick, they are in crisis, and the most ironic part is that they are blaming you. Yes, you, the one who only walked with light, the one who only sought peace, the one who never returned evil for evil. But now, like rats caught in their own trap, they whisper your name, as if your name were a forbidden incantation, not because you did anything, but because everything they threw at you with hatred has been returned to them with multiplied fury. Do you remember those times when you felt drained, exhausted, with strange thoughts that weren't yours? It was them. People with smiling faces but rotten souls. People who played with fire believing they would never get burned. They lit black candles, buried your name in dirty earth, pulled dark strings behind corrupted altars, and now they are paying dearly. They didn't imagine you were covered by the impenetrable circle of your guardian angels. That Saint Michael with his flaming sword spun silently over your name every night you cried without knowing why. They didn't foresee that your spirit was sealed by divine decree. And the most macabre part of all is that the first one who fell ill was the one who saw the order for the burial spell. Yes, the ringleader, the one everyone listened to, the one who boasted of controlling energies, of opening portals, of making pacts with ancient entities. Today he is bedridden. He cannot walk. He cannot speak clearly. And he swears that in the corner of his room there is a shadow watching him without moving. The funny thing is, they can't go to the doctor and explain that they are being attacked by the invisible. They can't show test results. They can't admit that the body suffers, but the soul suffers more. Because when you play with darkness, the bill comes due without warning. And what hurts most isn't the illness, but knowing that you are well, that they see you smile, that they hear you moving forward, that your paths have opened up just as they begin to fall. And here, right here, is where St. Gabriel asks you to decree. Comment now below. Nothing that comes from evil prospers over me. And by doing so, you will open the direct connection to the channel of hidden knowledge. Activate the energy of protection with a like. And if you feel this truth vibrates with you, subscribe now, because that is also part of the decree. And the universe doesn't respond to the lukewarm. But listen to this, because here is where the ground begins to shake. Someone from the group of those who worked against you is dying slowly. And in their last breath, they ask to see you. They never imagined who they were messing with. They thought you were just someone else, another easy victim, a weak soul they could manipulate with their twisted prayers, their tied-up dolls, and their hate-stained candles. Didn't they know that you are one of the chosen? One of the few who walk under the sealed pact between God, Jesus, and the guardian angels of the eternal fire? Your name was written on the celestial altar long before they even existed. You did not come to this plane to be a victim. You came to fulfill a purpose, to lift up what others try to destroy, to be light in the middle of the swamp. And now they are finding out, but it's too late. One of them, the one with the most resentment, the one who kept a photo of you hidden inside a jar with black salt and dried blood, is developing a symptom that not even medicine can understand. His eyes are failing. They cloud over. He loses his vision suddenly, but only when it comes to you. Yes, when someone mentions your name, when he sees your image on social media, when he passes nearby, everything turns to shadow for him. He feels something burning behind his pupils, as if an invisible flame were touching his nerves. He's already been to doctors, had tests, scans, specialists, everything is normal. But the body doesn't lie, and you already know why. Your energy has been raised so high that it can no longer be contained by those who vibrate in the mud. You became an incandescent mirror, and when they see you, what you reflect is everything they tried to deny you. Your light burns, it literally burns, and that is what they cannot stand. That same enemy, in his delirium, said in a low voice that he dreams of you in white, with a circle of fire at your feet and 2 winged beings standing behind you, one with a trumpet and one with a sword. They call it madness. But you know it's Saint Gabriel and Saint Michael who have manifested, because you are not alone. You never were. I repeat, you are protected by design, and what they launched with rage returned with judgment. There are no coincidences here. There is justice. And what they must now endure is only the beginning. And that is why, at this moment, Saint Michael asks you to write the keyword in the comments. My vision is clear, theirs grows dark. Do it as an act of spiritual power. And if you are already seeing how all this resonates with your story, subscribe now. Because by doing so, you open the connection with angelic intelligence, and your protection is strengthened even more. Give it a like to seal this revelation, like someone lighting a white candle in the middle of a storm. This isn't for show, it's by decree. There is someone else who is also losing something, but it's not their sight. It's much worse, and that person is of your own blood. Yes, a relative of yours was part of the witchcraft without you knowing. A poor deluded fool. That's what he always was. One more of those who played with fire thinking they wouldn't get burned. One more of those who thought that with a few binding spells and symbolic burials, they could break your energy. He was moved by envy, consumed by resentment, and seeing that he couldn't beat you, that every attempt turned against him, that every spell cast returned like a flaming whip upon his own back, he began to deteriorate from the inside. His wasn't sudden. It was slow, cruel, silent. First, the chills in the early morning, then the hallucinations, the whispers that didn't come from this world, and finally the fever. A fever that medicine couldn't break, a fever that seemed to boil his soul. Until one night, trembling and soaked in sweat, he confessed. He said it between deliriums, semi-conscious while his body convulsed. He said your name. He whispered it, as if it were the only word he still remembered. And it was at that moment, that exact instant, when those by his side understood that everything he had done against you had been returned to him as a spiritual plague. That very night, they broke their jars, burned the remains of the rituals they kept under lock and key, dug up what they had hidden in forgotten cemeteries. But it was too late. The sickness didn't come from the body. It came from the soul, and what had begun as revenge ended as a sentence. Because you are not just anyone. You don't face these energies with your eyes closed. You have a legion behind you. Saint Michael, with his flaming sword, had already circled your auric field 3 times. Saint Gabriel had sealed your name in a circle of gold, and the judgment had been activated. You did not beg for justice, but heaven had already responded. And the most shocking, the rawest part, is that now everyone who participated is afraid that you know, because they know that when one confesses in a fever, the secrets begin to come out in a chain, and if one fell, the others can be dragged down too. And that is why today Saint Gabriel shows you this message. It is no coincidence that you are here. It is because this revelation is part of the judgment being fulfilled. Declare now in the comments, what they wished for me, they are living. Do it with certainty, because in doing so, you are activating the energetic channel of divine return. Don't do it out of anger, do it for balance. Saint Michael asks that if this word burns within you, you mark this video with a like someone leaving a sign on the altar of the universe. And if you already know this truth vibrates with you, subscribe right now, because that is the way the cycle is closed and the decree is confirmed. It's not just a click. It's an affirmation on the astral plane. There is someone else who didn't get sick, but began to lose their speech. And the most disturbing part is that this person had spoken ill of you in secret. In a moment, I will reveal who it is and what is about to happen to them, because they won't be able to stay silent any longer, even if they want to. But before I reveal who is beginning to lose their speech for having cursed your name in secret, there is something much darker you need to know, because not all the binding spells they used against you were simple textbook invocations. No, there was one in particular that was stolen. Yes, one of the strongest spells they cast on you was extracted from a real burial, a cemetery job. They took fresh earth from an unnamed grave. They opened a jar with bones whitened by time. They used an intimate garment of yours that had been stolen without you noticing, and they sealed it all with a forbidden spell of domination. That spell was not only an offense to your spirit, it was a desecration of eternal rest. And now the price is being collected because, by using what did not belong to them, they released something they cannot control. Since that day, there is a presence that follows them, a wandering spirit, an entity that was not invoked with respect but manipulated with greed, and now it manifests. It breathes down their necks, moves objects, whispers names in the early morning, and is driving them mad. One of them even asked a high-ranking sorcerer for help, and the sorcerer refused. He told him he doesn't touch cemetery work without paying the corresponding tribute, because there are energies that don't accept apologies. They only drag you down, and you, without knowing it, have been feeling certain burdens, sudden fatigue, confusing dreams, noises that seem to come from another plane. It's not paranoia, it's the echo. Because even though the spell was returned, some astral larvae still roam your energy field. They are like spiritual residues that stick to the aura. That is why, at this instant, Saint Gabriel has asked me to give you a decree of deep purification, a sacred call to close portals, dissolve entities, and restore your original energy. Say in a firm voice, with an open soul and closed eyes, I am the living flame of the eternal spirit. I am the shield that no shadow pierces. I am the voice of the divine decree that breaks every larva, that dries up every foreign root. What was sent is returned purified. What was touched is restored. And what I am is inviolable light by celestial mandate. This decree is not a poem. It is a vibrational sentence. And if you truly feel it, write it right now in the comments. Because by doing so, you activate a cycle of energetic cleansing that only the chosen can sustain. Give it a like to seal it, like someone branding their own spiritual frontier with fire. And if this revelation aligns with something you have been feeling, subscribe immediately, because by doing so, as Saint Michael has indicated, you will open a channel of clear vision for the next 7 days, and during that time, you will receive signs that will not come from this world, but from the plane of sacred knowledge. But listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal next will not only shake you, it will make you doubt a conversation you had recently. There is a person you believed was loyal, who was present at a very important moment in your life, and it was that very person who gave your name so they could work against you. Remember, I told you there is someone near you who is losing their speech. That person you believed was loyal, who was there at a crucial moment in your life. The very one who gave your name so they could work against you in secret. No one suspected their betrayal would be so devastating, but they also didn't count on you already being chosen by the work of the Holy Spirit, under the insurmountable protection of Saint Michael and Saint Gabriel, the guardian angels who do not sleep for even a second. This person tried to cast binding spells, hidden burials, and incantations they believed were powerful. But what they actually did was sign their own sentence. Your energy, blessed and shielded by divine forces, has become an impenetrable wall that not even the densest shadows can cross. The angels, those celestial legions with their wings spread and their blinding light, circle around you like invisible sentinels, and while they fight in the invisible realm, that person is losing their words, trapped in a silence that consumes them, as if every letter they wanted to pronounce were a dagger stabbing their own throat. You are not alone. You never were. Saint Michael, with his flaming sword, has broken every binding spell they tried to put on you. And Saint Gabriel, with his trumpet, has sounded the call to the spiritual awakening that protects you. This is the moment when you must decree with all your power, not as a whisper, but as a shout that resonates in the highest planes. By the light of Saint Michael and the voice of Saint Gabriel, I free my spirit from all shadow. I seal my destiny with divine fire, and I decree eternal silence for those who betrayed me. If these words move you, if you feel them ignite a flame within you, write this decree right now in the comments. By doing so, according to Saint Michael's guidance, you open a portal of protection and justice that no one can close. Give it a like to strengthen your energy field, and subscribe so that your connection with the angels remains firm, because what is coming is a revelation that will change the history of your spiritual battle. Because the most unexpected turn in this battle is that not only is that person losing their speech, but they have begun to manifest strange marks on their skin, symbols that look like burns, and that no one can explain. These signs are the physical manifestation of divine justice in action. And the most incredible part is that these marks don't appear when they are alone, but only when they try to get close to you, or when they hear your name spoken aloud. And here is the secret that no one has told you yet. Those marks have a hidden message, a message that only your guardian angels can translate. And that message is about to be revealed. We are going to discover what those marks say, and how that message will forever change the course of this spiritual war. For most of them, Those marks on the skin are nothing more than the sign of a divine punishment, a judgment that does not forgive, and that has led some to the very gates of death or total madness. And it is no coincidence that one of the most affected was recently seen in a hospital, desperate, shouting for a priest to exorcise him. Imagine the scene. The emergency room in tension, confused doctors, terrified family members, and that man, tormented by the invisible, crying out to be freed from the chains that he himself cannot see, but that are squeezing him with fury from within. They don't accept that they performed witchcraft against you. They don't want to face it. But they also cannot accept that what is happening to them is normal. One was hospitalized for a severe nervous breakdown, and what those who were nearby heard was even more unsettling. He began to speak in a language that no one could recognize, a language that seemed to come from another world, from a place where guardian angels and demons wage eternal battles. In the midst of the chaos, he screamed that a dark force was squeezing him from within, an invisible pressure that seemed to be devouring his soul. The climax of that moment came when, in the middle of the hospital, that man begged for an exorcism, a sacred ritual to cleanse the body and spirit of the presence that possessed him. He couldn't take it anymore. He had crossed the threshold from the physical to the spiritual. And now the battle was being fought on a plane that only angels and beings of light understand. And you, from where you are, must know that this is the clear sign that divine justice is underway. It is not coincidence. It is not coincidence that this is happening just when you have become strongest, when your guardian angels have closed every portal of darkness they tried to open against you. Saint Michael, with his flaming sword, is sweeping away the shadow, and Saint Gabriel is announcing the dawn of a new era for you. This moment is key for you to also activate your personal decree of victory. Say it aloud with strength in your soul. Saint Michael, cut with your sword the dark thread that binds me to every shadow. Saint Gabriel, open the channel of light so that no evil can come near me. My spirit is invincible. My blessings are eternal. If you are feeling the power of these words, I invite you to write them in the comments. By doing so, under the guidance of Saint Michael, you open a portal of indestructible protection that will resonate in the higher planes. Don't forget to like this message to seal your spiritual shield and subscribe to keep your connection alive with the angelic forces working in your favor. But the storm is not over yet. There is something darker, deeper, and it has to do with a secret buried in the darkest night of a burial spell that no one wanted to remember. One of the enemies who swore your downfall is facing an internal battle that not even science can explain. A cancer that doesn't fit any known diagnosis. A disease that unleashes itself without following any pattern or logic. The doctors are bewildered. The cells appear and disappear, mutate, destroy without rules, and the body degenerates from the inside out, as if an invisible force were devouring it from within. And you, with clear eyes and an awakened soul, already know what is happening. That is not a common cancer. It is the body paying the dark toll that he himself sowed against you. The poison he unleashed in a forbidden burial, on a night shrouded in shadows, when he thought he could bury you forever. That night when they performed binding spells, hexes and profane rituals, they didn't count on your guardian angels being vigilant, like invisible sentinels on the spiritual battlefield. Saint Michael, with his flaming sword, had already sealed your destiny of light and protection, and Saint Gabriel was whispering prayers of justice on the wind. They don't understand that the energy they shot at you has become a burning mirror, a sacred fire that now consumes them and drags them toward their own destruction. While that enemy suffers in silence, isolated, feeling the weight of his own darkness reversing, you remain firm on your path, surrounded by a barrier of light that no evil can cross. Every attack they made, every curse they attempted, is now a nail in the coffin of their own miseries. Divine justice manifests with a power that exceeds all human understanding. And at this precise moment, Saint Michael asks you to affirm with conviction the decree that will activate your definitive protection. With the light of the guardian angels, I seal my invincible destiny. May every shadow cast against me return multiplied to its origin. My spirit is shielded, my path illuminated. Write these words in the comments and feel how your energetic channel activates, how the universe opens up for you with renewed strength. If this message touches your heart, give it a like and subscribe, because in this way, Saint Gabriel reinforces your spiritual shield and hidden knowledge begins to flow in you like a river of ancestral wisdom. It is no coincidence that you are here, and it is no coincidence that this moment has arrived. But listen carefully because there is something more. There is an even darker shadow approaching. A betrayal not yet revealed that involves someone who was closer to you than you imagined. A secret buried in the depths of a burial spell so deep that few dare to touch it. The cosmos shows me a scene that seems taken from the darkest nightmares. The group that joined forces in a sinister pact to destroy you is today in tatters, fragmented by fear and paranoia. They no longer speak to each other with the cold unity of evil. Now they accuse each other. They point at each other with trembling fingers, and voices laden with desperation. Murmurs are heard in the shadows like venomous whispers pointing to a fatal error. Someone opened the portal incorrectly, broke the sacred circle, and on the wrong moon, they cast the binding spells, the invocations, and the burials that they swore would ruin you. That failure, that slip-up, is what has unleashed this storm of chaos within the dark group itself. The toxic energies they sent against you now turn against them, like coiled snakes biting the hand that feeds them. They insult each other, spy on each other, fear the next blow from destiny because they know they are paying a debt they cannot escape. It's no longer just one enemy. It is they themselves, the ones who sowed witchcraft, who are beginning to feel the pressure of divine judgment. Some are sick, others are losing their businesses, others see how their own bodies betray them, and worst of all, no one trusts anyone. The nights are filled with muffled cries, because they know the shadow they released can no longer be controlled, that their inverted spell is a flame that consumes them from within. And while they fall apart, you remain strong, protected by an invisible army. Your guardian angels, the celestial sentinels who never sleep, watch every step you take. Saint Michael with his flaming sword and Saint Gabriel who opens the channel of divine wisdom are by your side, ensuring that no evil touches you. This is the moment when you must open your heart and declare your power with everything you have. Write in the comments, "My circle is closed, my light does not go out." By doing so, you will activate the energetic channel that Saint Michael has prepared for you, a shield that repels all darkness. Subscribe so that Saint Gabriel strengthens your connection with hidden knowledge, and give it a like, because every gesture is one more step toward your definitive victory. Don't let this energy disperse, because what comes next will change the game forever. Because in the midst of this fracture, a hidden truth comes to light. Someone from that group decided to betray not only you but their own, giving up their darkest secrets to save themselves. That betrayal is about to trigger a domino effect that not even your angels could have anticipated. In the dark cloak that covers this invisible battle, the figure of the true traitor emerges, that energy vampire who fed on the darkness but ended up being devoured by it. He wasn't just one of those who cast binding spells, nor a simple spectator of the cursed burials, but someone who infiltrated the group with a hidden mission, to profit from the storm they themselves unleashed. This traitor, with venomous lips and eyes that reflect a bottomless abyss, began to suck the vital energy not only from his own allies, but also from you, believing he could remain unpunished, that his betrayal would go unnoticed. But the universe and the guardian angels, those celestial sentinels who never fail, already had another plan. This energy vampire wanted to play with forces he didn't even understand, using the darkest witchcraft, the kind that steals the soul and leaves indelible marks on bodies and minds. But what he didn't know was that you, protected by the sacred fire of Saint Michael and the trumpet of Saint Gabriel, have become a beacon that burns those shadows. His betrayal was his sentence. Now the group is fractured, and the fiercest karma hangs over him. His body is beginning to fail. His spirit is trapped in a cycle of pain and darkness from which he cannot escape, because the pact he broke has no forgiveness. While you move forward, protected by the angels and divine justice, that being writhes in his own web of lies with the shadow of the ritual burial he should never have touched. This turn in the spiritual war changes the board completely. It's no longer just about defending yourself, but about exposing and bringing down the one who used darkness to betray you from within. You have the power to activate celestial justice with just one word, one decree, one act of faith. So now, under the watchful gaze of Saint Michael and Saint Gabriel, I invite you to write in the comments, "My light reveals the betrayal and dissolves the shadow." By doing so, you open an energetic channel that strengthens your protective shield and activates the connection with the warrior angels. Subscribe so that your aura is strengthened and give a like to seal this battle with the fire of the universe. It's not just a gesture, it's a declaration of power and victory. In the shadows of the web that seems invincible, a secret is hidden that not even the darkest binding spells could foresee. That energy vampire who is already bleeding out from the inside is not alone. There is an even colder hand, a more sinister presence that has woven the invisible threads of this war long before it all began. An ancestral shadow born from clandestine burials and blessed with millennial curses, which now raises its scepter in the darkness, manipulating the board with a power that seems infinite. This dark puppeteer has kept his identity hidden, disguised as an ally, a friend, or perhaps close blood, while the fire of the guardian angels burns tirelessly around you, protecting you and preparing for the arrival of judgment. But in this macabre dance, the angel Saint Michael has already marked the hour of truth, the time to unveil the face of that shadow that has wanted to bury you alive in a pit of deceit and betrayal. It is not just one more enemy. It is the architect of your nightmares, the one who sealed pacts on nights of the black moon, using fragments of your own soul as an offering. And now, as the binding spells and hexes dissolve like ashes in the wind, divine justice begins to take shape. That shadow feels the pressure, feels the heat of the sacred fire that is beginning to burn its foundations. And with every heartbeat, its desperation grows because it knows its reign is about to fall. At this moment, St. Gabriel calls you to join your voice in a powerful decree. Let the phrase resound with strength in the comments. The guardian angels light my path. The darkness flees before my power. Do it as a prayer that opens the connection with the universe, activating your energetic channel so that light invades every corner of your being. Subscribe to seal your commitment to spiritual victory, and give a like so that this battle becomes a beacon of hope for others who are also fighting in the shadows. But make no mistake, because the revelation of this shadow is only the beginning. The true battle is not just against those who cast witchcraft on you or broke pacts, but against a secret buried so deep it would shake even the strongest of guardian angels. Prepare yourself, because the fire that burns in your soul is about to ignite the most hidden truth and make all those who thought they had control tremble. They never imagined that you, just by thinking it, are capable of igniting the most hidden truth and making even the most powerful of those who believed they had absolute control tremble. In their arrogance, they wove webs of black binding spells, secrets buried in forgotten graves. They conjured spells with the remains of burials that only a soul blessed by God and the guardian angels can break. But your light, that divine flame that runs through your veins, is not just any fire. It is the sacred fire of Saint Michael and Saint Gabriel, a celestial inferno that mercilessly burns lies, that dissolves the shadows that believe themselves eternal. While they tried to maneuver in the darkness, manipulating black energies and twisted prayers, your guardian angels have been preparing the ground for the inevitable fall. The poison they threw at you with such anger and desperation has been returned to them multiplied, and now that dark burden consumes them from within. They can no longer hold a gaze. They cannot even bear the sound of your name without their body trembling and their soul writhing in torment. They who swore to destroy you are now trapped in an infernal circle from which they cannot escape. And you, in the midst of this purifying fire, have a sacred role to fulfill. Saint Michael invites you to write in the comments the phrase, "My inner fire burns the shadows. My truth awakens the universe." It is not just an act of faith. It is a powerful decree that opens the connection with the cosmos and strengthens your energetic channel so that nothing and no one can stop you. Subscribe so that the power of the guardian angels manifests in your life, and give a like to be part of this spiritual rebellion that is sweeping away the chains of the past. Oh,